Jesus said, I am the way, no one comes to the Father, I'm the way, the light, and the truth. No one comes to the Father but through me. I absolutely agree, but you have to understand what it means. Jesus said, I am the way, the light, and the truth, because indeed he is the way, the light, and the truth. Does that mean I'm a follower of Jesus? I would love to be a follower of Jesus. On the other hand, if I go into a Christian church, it's not because I'm a follower of Jesus. It's partly out of, I need somewhere to sit down, and they leave the doors open and you can go in and sit down. And the energies in most churches are wonderful, usually second ray and sixth ray, and usually quite often very high in a good church. And I like to absorb and experience these energies. I know that the Master Jesus is a great master, one of the greatest masters in our planetary hierarchy, close associate of Maitreya, works daily, hourly, moment to moment with Maitreya, deeply concerned with the well-being of humanity, filled with a love for humanity. And that, to me, is the real Jesus. The real Jesus is that one who has that all-embracing love for humanity, who doesn't break up humanity and say, that one is no good, he's just speaking for the Antichrist, and this one is wrong because he doesn't believe our Bible. He doesn't believe that Jesus is the one. The one what? The one God? You ask Jesus. When you see Jesus, you will have the opportunity to ask him, are you God? And he will say no. I don't know what else he would say. Don't be silly. Or I don't think he would say that, you know. But he might think it, you know. Don't be so naive. Don't be so simple. I'm not God. He is not God, except in the way that we are all God. The difference between you and Jesus, or me and Jesus, is that he has evolved to a point where he expresses that divinity in everything that he does and feels and thinks. And we don't. We only do it a tiny little fraction of that divinity. But the same divinity, there's only one divinity. It's not separable. It's just one indivisible divinity which we all share. Every human being of whatever color, whatever background, rich or poor, from the developed world or the third world, everyone is that same divinity, has that same divinity. It's the same divinity that is in Maitreya, the Christ, or in Jesus when he was the Christ, or today when he is no longer the Christ. But who is happy to work daily, hourly, moment to moment with the Christ, whose loyalty is to humanity and to the Christ. I feel that people who ask questions like this, they don't know who they're talking about. They don't know Jesus. They have no idea what Jesus is like. They don't experience it. It's just a word. And to him they assign all sorts of capacities for division, like the Christians against everybody else. Jesus doesn't do that. Jesus gave the Quran through Muhammad. He doesn't make the division between the Muslims and the Christians that the Christians do and that the Muslims do. How could he, and give the Quran? You see, life is very different, and the people who really create the strength of that life, the thought of that life, the uplifting ideas of that life, people like Jesus, like the Buddha, like Muhammad, and so on, are very different from ordinary human beings. In many ways, they are like ordinary human beings, but they don't have any faults. They're like men without faults. And the masters you will find are like ordinary, simple men, but without a fault in their makeup, filled with the love of God, filled with the wisdom of the ages, an ability to know, experience, tune into, and find identity with all the ills of humanity, all the pain, all the suffering of humanity. They're not just names, they are beings who experience, who know and who experience life at the highest possible level, and who are willing and ready to share that with humanity. That's really the nature of Jesus and the other masters. Jesus is the way, the light, and the truth. No one can know the Father except through him. What does it mean? It means that if you don't believe in Jesus, because belief is nothing, it's nothing at all. You can say, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Muhammad, I believe in Krishna. It doesn't mean anything at all unless it changes you. Belief in something or someone of that level means identity with. You live the life which is Jesus. You live the life which is Krishna or Muhammad. It's the quality of the life which you live that makes you a follower of Jesus or Krishna or the Buddha or whomever. It's not believing, because believing by itself does nothing. You have to experience. And when you experience, you can demonstrate. And it's in the demonstration that people see the follower. He says, yeah, he's a worthy follower of the Buddha. He's a worthy follower of Christ or Jesus or Muhammad, because he demonstrates the quality of life, the love, the intelligence, the will, the compassion of these great beings. When Jesus said, I am the light and truth, and no man can know the Father except through me, he meant he was speaking as the Christ, not as Jesus, but as the Christ, who is the Hierophant, the initiator at the first two of these 5 initiations, which, as I said, make you a master. They cover the last few lives of the evolutionary cycle on this planet, and at the first two, the Christ himself, the Lord Maitreya, is the Hierophant. He gives you the initiation. It's more than that. You become initiate yourself, but there are certain rituals when you are ready for the energy from the rod of initiation, which applies these to the chakras. And at the first two, the Christ, the Lord Maitreya, performs this ritual. And so no one who has not come before the Christ, through Jesus is talking now as the Christ, overshadowed by Maitreya. It is Maitreya who is talking. No man can come to the Father, that is, our Father in heaven is the Sanat Kumara, the Lord of the world on Shambhala, who is the Hierophant at the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th initiation. No one can reach that stage, take those higher initiations, who has not beforehand come before the Christ at the first 2 initiations. That's what it means. Now, the people around him didn't understand. 3 at least of the disciples understood what he meant. But it is possible to talk about that, and it is possible also to see that as a fundamentalist Christian obviously sees that. He says, well, what is he talking about? No man can come to the Father except through me, Jesus. So Jesus is the top one. He's God. Jesus isn't God. Maitreya isn't God. And Jesus looks up to Maitreya as his master. and he's not God. You can look up to the planetary logos, and that is our nearest equivalent of God. But what about the solar system? At the center of our solar system, in the sun, is a God. The solar system is an entity. It's ensouled by a great, great cosmic being who we call God. But that's only a part of it, because we are in a galaxy, and at the center of the galaxy, which is made up of countless thousands of suns with their systems, their planets, is a being. At the center of that galaxy is a being who is God, a greater God than our solar God. He's called the one about whom naught may be said. You can't say anything about him. How could you say something about such a God? And that's only our galaxy. There are millions of galaxies. Well, where do you stop? You know, God goes on and on. There isn't anywhere where God is not. In you, around you, between you, in everybody else, you cannot touch anything. You cannot see any space. You cannot look up to the sky or look down into the earth and say there's no God here. There is nowhere where God is not. He's inside you. He's a principle. He's the light in you, which is that which begins to glow. It's the same life, the same God, because light and light are the same. They're identical. And that's only about this system. What about another system at the center of the galaxy, and another galaxy beyond? You cannot even imagine if it's higher or lower. It's endless. It's infinity. That's what we have to get into our minds. Infinity is the reality. There is no end to it. I know people said, I don't want to come back into incarnation. I've had enough. You know, they're tired, they're not well, you know, they've got rheumatics and arthritis and, you know, in real pain and suffering for years. I don't want to come back. It's the last thing I want. I've had enough. I want to rest. When I die, I want that to be the end. I don't want to do this all over again. They forget they have a new body, it's springy, it's full of life, it's a child and it grows up and it's young while it's young and so on. They forget that it's not the same old body. It's the same being, but not in the same old body. You need a new body, that's all you do. It's like a car. When it wears out, you get another one, don't you? Even before it gets out, you know. You know, you want people to say you've got the very latest. No, you don't wait for that, but you have to wait for the body to say, no, a bit longer, please, a bit longer. I know it's hopeless, it's useless, it's full of rheumatics, and I can hardly walk across the room, but oh, please, God, please don't take me yet, you know. It's funny how we hate to go. We'll love the car to go and get another one, brighter one, shinier one with more gadgets and things. And one that the neighbours can look at and say, okay, yeah, we'd better get one too.